Your home can be more than just a home. It can be your own personal fitness retreat, a place where you break a sweat, break your personal record, or just get a break in the day. Johnson Fitness and Wellness is your partner in creating the perfect home gym. And now, enjoy up to 50% off top-rated treadmills, ellipticals starting at $5.99, and major discounts on strength equipment. Visit a local store or johnsonfitness.com. Your home gym is just a few steps away.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Fitzgerald. You're listening to The Road to Enlightenment. Today, I am talking with the fabulous Linda Jollo about her work, healing codes, what's going on with energies, the world, and a whole lot more. We'll see where we go. We're starting with codes. Welcome to the show, Linda. Thanks so much for being my guest today.
Thanks for having me, Kelly. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Linda Jollo, and I'm going to spell it out for you. And it's Jollo. Must be Jollo because Jello doesn't shake like that. Don't send me any energy on the astral plane saying I can't get it out of my head. No, please don't. Today we're going to talk about light healing codes, and we're going to start with how they came about for me. I've been a healer all of my life. I came in as a healer. My first true memory of being a healer was when I was about 7. And the horses and the mules got into the corn and the hay, and my mom set my sister by the gate to shut the gate, and we chased them through. And as the horses and the mules went through, Fuzzy the mule kicked his heels up and caught my sister's head right between her eyes and split her head completely open. My mom, bless her heart, she picked us up without breaking stride, shut the gate, scooped us up, went in and got the keys to the truck and towels. And for those of you who are old enough to remember the big green half-gallon jugs of Physoderm, which back in the day was the antiseptic of the day. And I swear to God, she poured that whole half-gallon in her head, and it was 5 minutes to the nearest town and doctor. When we got there, Dr. Verney pried me off, cleaned up my sister's wound, and in those days they only did stitches because they barely had x-rays, right? And I made such a big fuss that Dr. Verney said, let her do what she wants to do because I need her sister to be calm. So I climbed up on the bed, put my hands on her head, and sat that way for 20 minutes, and then asked for popsicles. We ended up staying in town with my mom's mother, my grandmother, for a week, and I made a fuss every day until they took me to do hands down. I came in as a healer. I came in as a Reiki master. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew I had to do it. My sister did not have a scar. She did not have any mental issues, no trauma whatsoever. So when the healing codes came around for me, I'm a licensed massage therapist. I had done 2 patients, and I had like a 3-hour break. I told my office manager, Dorothy, that I was going to go in, do a meditation, take a little nap, and to come get me if somebody showed up. So I was doing a meditation, and I was talking to my guides and Archangel Raphael, and I was asking the question, what is healing going to look like in 5th dimension? Are we going to be sick? Do we need illness to create time out, or will we just take time out to rest and to do other things? And he said, well, if you do the work, we'll show you. And I said, great, I'll do the work. Dorothy knocked on my door and said, you had a walk-in. And I said, on this side or the other side? And she paused, and I'm giggling. And she said, no, this time and space. I said, okay. So I came in, I worked on them. Before I got done, she had knocked again and said I had another walk-in on this side. We laughed. I worked on that person, and then before I was done, another person came in, and I worked on them. And as I was working over these 3 people, I saw 2-foot number sequences across the top of their back, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I've seen animals, I see colors, I see guides, I see people from the other side, but I've not seen number sequences. And I said, what? Wait, what is that? And the guide said, write it down. And, of course, I argue with my guides quite a bit because I'm kind of stubborn and a little bit ornery. And I said, oh, sure, I got massage oil, and you expect me to pick up a pen and write the number down. Okay. So, when you have lotion on your hands, it's really difficult to write with a pen. So I got the number wrote down and got all done. And I said, so what does the number mean? And they said, well, what was the common denominator? And I said, besides being walk-ins? And they laughed and they go, yes. So the common denominator was every one of them came in with sciatic nerve pain. So
interesting.
So the first 2 were not too bad. The last one on the table was a gentleman, and 2 of his buddies had to pack him onto the table. And when he left, he walked out on his own steam. So if you have your piece of paper and you have your pencil and your hands are oil-free, I'm going to give you the for sciatic nerve pain, which is the first one I got. And the number is 87 space 47 space 838. Again, the number's 87 space 47 space 838. And I said, so how do you use it? And Archangel Raphael said, you write it on their body. Well, I was so excited about, learning something new and how could a number frequency change and make corrections in our body. And it began several years now of discussions about light frequencies and sound frequencies and their relationship. So we know that everything has a color related to it. We know that everything has a sound related to it. And so when we make the correction, it just changes in your body. And it's just very, very cool. So while I was doing that, I called all my healer friends and I said, oh, hey, I got these codes, write them on their body and give me feedback. And so 3-4 hours later, a couple days later, all this feedback came in and they said, Linda, nobody likes to write it on their body with a non-toxic marker. And I went, oh, wait, it's energy. You can just take your finger that you write with, your index finger, and you just write it on your arm. You have to leave the spaces between because they are like the sharps and the flats. So it's easy. So when you do the codes, you just write the codes on your arm. You can write them on your tummy. I have people write them on their thigh. One of the feedbacks was, well, what do you do when you can't reach in the middle of your back and you got back pain? I personally just write them on my arm, and you can write one over the top of each other, which makes it very, very easy. So that's kind of how we got started. So I like to tell people that if you're old enough to remember Star Trek, Bones, the medical healer, right, had a tricorder. And the tricorder, he would go down from the head, down the body to the feet, and you would see light and sound. And he would stand at the bottom of the feet, and he'd go, oh, my God, I haven't seen that in 10 millennia. And he'd punch in a new mathematical code, and then he would go back up the body with different lights and sounds, and then he would tell the captain, you can interrogate them, we'll keep them overnight for observation, and you can send them back to their world, their planet. So what we're doing is what the tricorder does, except we're doing it manually. And because technology is on a fast track right now, especially since we've got quantum computing, where we can take everything we know about heart disease and write it on one line of code, okay?
Right.
We can take another line of code and write everything we know about healing heart disease, whether it's flower essence, whether it's tuning forks, whether it's color, whether it's medicine, herbs, acupuncture. Everything we know we can write in one code. And there is a $4 million reward for whoever comes up with a tricorder. And I should say we should probably expect that in 2 or 3 years.
I would think so, yeah.
We've got several people now, big, huge companies that do medical technology equipment working on it feverishly. So it would be really awesome. And we're starting to see some of that with the thermometers and some of the stuff that they're using in the hospital now. You don't even have to stick the thermometer up your butt anymore, and then you whip to your throat. Now they just go around your head, right? Awesome.
Right.
Some of the diabetes technology is all done off of your phone and a little receiver. Yeah, it's going to be, the technology is just exploding. It is so much fun. So what we want to do when we do the codes is we're raising the frequencies. So some of the frequencies, let's start with color and sound. So red is the color C, right? Is C,
right,
the musical note C, and the color is red. And so when we look at those things, we begin to see how that would affect us. There was a guy here in Cheney, Washington at Eastern State University. His name is Bruce Tenino of Tenino Technology, and he did some very interesting studies on the frequencies of body. So a healthy body runs 62 to 72 hertz, right? Colds and flu start at 57 to 60 megahertz. So death begins at 25. So you can begin to see why frequencies are important, right? Essential oils, because a lot of us use essential oils, right? Start at 52 hertz and they go up to 320. 320 is the frequency of rose oil. It's the highest frequency of the essential oils. Fresh fruits, vegetables, herbs start from 20 to 27 hertz. Processed food, like dried herbs, 15 hertz. Processed food, canned food, has zero hertz. There's no nutrition in canned food. So when you think about what we're eating, it has a huge effect on kind of some of the things that we're looking at here, right?
Right, absolutely.
So each of the healing codes incorporates in your number frequency, in your number sequence, a low frequency, which makes physical changes in the body, a middle frequency, which makes emotional changes in the body, and a high frequency, which makes spiritual changes in the body. And so we go from 62 hertz clear up to 360 and higher in some of the codes that we're talking about. So the codes work best when you are doing all the things that you need to do. You're eating good, fresh food. You're managing your stress. When you don't manage your stress, your cortisol levels go up, your frequencies go down, your insulin levels go up because you are stressed and your body doesn't hear what they're doing, right? Digestion shuts down. And when our digestion shuts down, the body stops hearing the hormone leptin, which leptin is about our cravings, whether it's sugar, salt, coffee, doesn't matter, right? When we become resistant to insulin, we need more and more insulin all the time. So the biggest thing is to control your stress. So how do we control our stress, right? Because we're inundated with it. We have workplace, family, relationship, past trauma, current traumas, anything. So what we want the healing codes to do is interrupt that process, right, and put in the positive response, right, so that our body can start healing, okay? When we take an interest in our health and we become proactive, we begin to understand that everything starts on the soul level, is processed by the emotions, and then plays out in the physical body. Okay? So we used to just think that take a pill, get a shot, go to bed, drink your water and chicken noodle soup, right? But now we're realizing that our bodies are way more complicated. So we have to take an active interest in it. We have to be more balanced. We have to listen to our heart. And the biggest and best healing on the planet is unconditional love, period.
Right.
Love is the energy of the highest vibration. It is essential to life and to all healing that takes place in everything and everywhere. So right now, we need a lot of love. There's a lot of tearing down going on in this society. There's a lot of fear. And I'm asking you to please take a few moments to calm yourself down. Let go of the fear and sit from a place of love. And it's difficult,
now,
especially if you are listening to the TV and the radio, and there's millions and trillions and billions of negative messages. And for every negative message, we have to have 10 positive messages to negate that one. And we don't get that in our society right now. So it really falls upon us to really take a big interest in trying to stay in the state of grace, the state of love.
And now, my obvious question for this is there a code for love?
There is a code for love. And it's to experience unconditional love. Because there is a lot of people on this planet that have not experienced unconditional love for a variety of reasons. So the number and the code to experience unconditional love is 56 space 57 space 893. Again, 56 space 57 space 893. So I'm just going to give you a couple codes right here. So hopefully you still have your piece of paper and your pencil and an extra piece of paper. Okay? So what we want to do, in addition to unconditional love, is to experience and have joy and happiness in our life. So there is a joy and happiness code, and that code is 41 space 23 space 5679. Again, 41 space 23 space 5679. That's for joy and happiness. When we combine unconditional love with joy and happiness, what do we create? Well-being, right? We all want that sense of calm, well-being, that clarity, that focus. So the well-being code is 33 space 21 space 817. Again, 33 space 21 space 817. And that's for well-being. We have so much stress, and the last 18 months have been so very stressful.
Oh, yeah.
There's a calm down stress code, and I'm going to give you that now. It's 05 space 05 space 561. Again, 05 space 05 space 561. That's to calm down stress. The other one that I'm asked for quite frequently is, hey, Linda, I'm working on my spirituality. Man, how do I get some help with that? So there's a spiritual intuition code to help you grow and connect to your guide. And that code is 55 space 76 space 781. Again, 5 space 76 space 781. And that's for your spiritual intuition to grow and to help you connect to your guides. And I would suggest that you sit down and set the timer, because a lot of us can't get our minds quiet. And don't worry if you're running your grocery list or worried about the kids or the deadline for the work. Doesn't matter. Set your timer for 18 minutes, because it takes that long to entrain, right? For you to get your body to calm down, right? And ask who your guides are. What are your names, right? If you're working on date night, ask your guides on Friday to help you with date night. If you're having a health issue, ask for your medical team on the other side. Yes, you have a medical team, and they are awesome. And remember, your guides can't help you. And when I say guides, I mean your guardian angels, your ascended masters, everybody. I just call them my guides. So They can't help you unless you ask. And you can't do the work unless you sit down and can actually hear, see, smell, taste, or somehow know what it is you need to do. And when you're meditating and you say, geez, my knee hurts, what can I do for my knee? And you listen, right? And you hear acupuncture, or you hear essential oil, or you hear exercise, or you hear ice and elevate, right?
Right.
You have to be willing to just listen and be quiet. And if you don't get anything, then trust that you know, and then just get up and do whatever it is you want to do, right? So if you don't hear anything and you get done and you go, I didn't hear anything, I'm disappointed, but you walk over and you get a bag of peas or a block of ice and you put it on your knee and you elevate it, you got the message. You just didn't trust that you got the message. So we want you to trust that you know what you know, and it takes practice.
I think that's what hangs up a lot of people, is that trusting that they did get the message if they don't hear an answer. So how do you encourage people to keep going even though they don't physically hear an answer?
And it's same with the codes. You may write the code for the headache code, and you may say, geez, my headache's a little better, or nothing changed and I still have my headache. Write it again. There's no side effects for the codes. So you can't take more aspirin. You can't take your migraine medication more than what's prescribed. But if you're having severe migraines and you have medication and you add the code, see what happens, right? Journaling helps. Most of the time the changes start out very subtle and we don't recognize that something changes. And I hear from people all the time that says, I wrote the code, nothing changed, or something changed, but I can't tell you what changed. Something changed in my body, but I don't know. And that's especially true with the weight loss code. Oh, yeah, there's a weight loss code, and I'm going to give you that one, too, because we all have weight loss issues. And excuse me, I'm at the top of the peak. And I'm here to tell you that they do work. 2 years ago, I was 375 pounds. I'm now 220 pounds. And what I did was I got a smaller plate. Everything I wanted to eat had to fit on the plate with space, not falling off the sides, not 2 feet tall, right?
Right.
And I put the weight loss code in. And the weight loss code is 31-22-778.
Okay.
And what I did is every time I ate, I put the code in before I started.
Nice. We have a caller. I'm going to see if I can get this person on. Hello, caller. Are you there?
Hi, Kelly.
Hello.
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Do you have a question for Linda?
Yeah, I was just wondering, and I may have missed this, so I apologize, is when did you start to receive codes and how did you start to receive them?
I started getting codes back in, back in 2014-15. And I started seeing number sequences over people when I was working on them because I'm a licensed massage therapist. And when I started getting sequences, I sat down and did a meditation, talked to my guides, talked to Archangel Raphael. He's in charge of all the healing on this particular planet in this particular time and space. And that's how they began for me. There are people around the world that are working with Archangel Raphael and the Divine Mother and these codes. Okay, I am not the only one. There is amazing, awesome people around the world working on the codes. And I think it's just really timely because the last 18 months have been very stressful for people. You can take a code and do some self-help. Again, you have to work on your lifestyle, your stresses. You got to do exercise. You still have to eat right. You still have to do everything that you have to do, right? It's just not like, oh, I have COPD, and so I'm just going to put a code in and I can continue to smoke. Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way, right? So you still have to do the work, but it gives you more control. And until you figure out what the trigger is that puts you in what I call reversal, you can keep writing the code in every 5 or 6 minutes, right? Because there are no side effects. So I worked with this gal who would wake up in the morning. She'd feel perfectly happy, healthy, no problems. And as soon as she got done with breakfast about 10, 10:30 or 11, mid-morning, she would just be deathly ill. And we worked together for 6 months before, and we did everything. I muscle tested her. She wrote down everything she ate, drank, wore, laundry soap, bathing soap, everything, right? And we muscle tested for everything. And what we found out was minute by minute her day, got up at 6:30, took a shower, used the following, right? Minute to minute of everything she did. What we found out was that she was allergic to the ink in the newspaper because every time she picked up the newspaper is when she started getting sick. But we didn't make that connection until we actually went through it minute by minute. And it was a 6-month journey for her. And so her solution was her husband would read her the paper in the morning when they had their time together. And when she wasn't there, she wanted to read the beauty section, right? Or your horoscope, which she wasn't interested in. He got her an online subscription to the newspaper. So, again, it's about you being vested in your health. And the codes help you make it easier and make it consistent for you to be well. to be happy, right? All of these things. I have codes for every body system. I have codes for spirituality. I have codes for everyday things. I have a pet section. I have a section for veterans just for things that they do. I have a small section just for kids with ADHD and changing task things, right? I've got worked with a couple teachers, and they said, man, we need codes for this. And so they wrote out what they needed specifically, and I got codes for them for those. So I am working on a book.
Yay.
It's about done, and it will be going to somebody to proof soon, I hope, and make the necessary changes. Because while I do write, I don't necessarily consider myself a writer. And it's okay. I play piano, but I don't consider myself by any means a piano player. And when I say I play piano, I like chopsticks, right? I can do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I can do the very beginning stuff. And I like to just tinker with that. But the point is we're all good at something, and we're okay at other things. And the point is we can be awesome and manage our bodies so much better with the codes, with nutrition, when we're not in reversal all the time, when we're not stuck in our way. And God knows I get there all the time, right? I'm like, geez, Linda, if you could just step aside for a minute and breathe and figure out what you need to do. And some days I don't even know what to do. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start here, and I'm going to spin clockwise 180 degrees. And then I'm going to take 3 steps in a different direction, and I'm going to spin again. And I'm going to go in the opposite direction. And I do that 5 or 6 times and then I breathe. And then it's like, okay, kind of got myself out of my way, right? Because I moved all over, right? I can probably think and do a meditation now.
I've got someone in a chat room that says the codes would, at the very minimum, help someone focus on what they were trying to heal when they're doing everything else. So how can it be a bad thing? That thought occurred to me, too, just the idea, just the aspect of using your finger and writing a code would indeed help you focus your mind on what you were trying to heal. So good comment from the comment section.
It's a wonderful comment, and how empowering if you know that you can write a code, right? You can write a code to help you calm down stress, to help you feel well-being, to calm down your headache or your back. Or I'm going to give you a code for some financial stuff for global, okay? Because our finances are going crazy right now. Some of us are working, some of us are not. Some of us don't have jobs, right? There is a huge financial crisis right now. And the code that I'm going to give, I have several financial codes, but the one that I want to give you today is for global financial rebound, okay? It's to get us beyond the blocks, the fears, to manifest a world that works for everyone, and to jumpstart us into our global soul, which is huge. And I'm often asked, Linda, I don't have time to go to the soup kitchen. I don't have time to donate hours. I don't have time to go to a third world country. And I'm like, if you can manifest global financial rebound every day and write this code in the air and send it to everybody on this planet, right? You are doing community service. You are doing your service work to others. The same with unconditional love. Everybody needs unconditional love. if you just write it in the air and send it to every living being on the planet, you are doing your work for the planet, which is very, very important. And you can do it when you're in your pajamas. You can do it when you're sitting in traffic, right?
Right.
It's easy, it's simple, and it raises the whole vibration, every living thing on the planet, which we need right now. We're trying to get 800 million people awake. And let me tell you, that's a job. So the Global Financial Rebound Code is as follows: 01 space 45467 space 2356. Again, 01 space 45467 space 2356. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So the other code I want to give you today is about adapting and being to easily adapt to what is new, to embrace change and welcome it. Because in the last 18 months, we have had change like, I swear to God, like every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it feels like to me. It's like, oh my God, can the shoe just stop now? Okay, I want to breathe. So this code is to help us to ease into change and make it so we're not so, oh my God, all the time, right? Get us out of oh my God mode. And the ease for adapting to what is new, to embrace change, is 16 space 16 space 714. How cool is that? That is awesome.
Very cool.
So the other thing I want to talk about a little bit is fear. Fear is the absence of love. Fear is the opposite of love. But there is love in fear, believe it or not. And there's been a lot of fear in the last 18 months that affects us, you know, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, socially. I mean, oh my God, everything. So I'm going to give you the fear code so that when you get in fear, you can just write a code and then follow it with the unconditional love code. And you will feel an immediate shift. So the code for fear is 42 space 58 space 725. Again, 42 space 58 space 725, and that's for fear.
Perfect. You know, you and I had talked before the show about a COVID code, and someone in the chat room just asked, is there a code for COVID? Which I think is really intriguing. If someone really, really, really wants that. And he says, yes, I really want that. So,
okay.
Is there a COVID code, and what is it?
Okay. So I have several codes related to COVID. Okay. So when we get COVID, there are several things we want to do. First of all, we want to strengthen our immunity. We want to increase our function of our lungs, right? We want to be able to use the energy from the universe to what? Balance your body, right? And so, and I gave you what? The first code for the virus, right? Fear.
Mm-hmm.
You want to let go of fear, and you have the best healing code on the planet is unconditional love. What I suggest everybody do, and I personally do this myself, is whatever I'm working on, I write that code, and then I put the unconditional love code on. If I'm doing several codes, say for high blood pressure, back pain, my weight loss code, say, I put all those in, one on top of the other, and then I put the unconditional love code in and the well-being code. Because what? You want to be what? Well-being, right? You want unconditional.
Right.
So we're going to talk about some of the codes that we want to use. So you're going to use your fear, and then we're going to give you the code to strengthen your immunity, because that is actually the best protection, okay? So the strengthen your immunity code is 7968, space 98989. Again, 7968, space 98989. That's to strengthen your immunity. The other thing we want to do, especially if you have breathing issues, COPD, asthma, allergies, right? Things that affect your breathing and your lungs.
Oh yeah.
we want to increase the function of your lungs. So the code to increase your function of your lungs is 9818, space 98989. How cool is that?
Very cool.
Okay, to use, I'll repeat it because I didn't repeat it. 9818, space 98989. That's to increase the function of your lungs. To absorb the energy, to use the energy from the universe, to balance your body and your energy as related to whatever you're working on, but especially for COVID, right? That number is 6837, space 8989, space 8989. Again, 6837, 8989, space 8989. That is to use the energy from the universe to balance your body. Okay? Now, here's the code that you've been waiting for, the one and the only. Okay? For the COVID. Here's the code for it. And the code is 6896, space 8968, space 9898, space 989. And again, it's 6896, space 8968, space 9898, space 989. Okay? So the next thing we're going to talk about is, because everybody wants to talk about side effects. So yes, there are codes for side effects for the shot. Talk about J&J, right? Side effects for their products. And the code for that, this is a very long code. These next codes are very long. So make sure you have room to write on your paper, right? Okay. So for J&J side effects is 1169, space 2178, space 3, space 5, space 96, space 143, space 248, space 9, space 0. Again, that's 1169, space 2178, space 3, space 5, space 96, space 143, space 248, space 9, space 0. Did you get it all written down?
That's a long one.
We got long ones. Okay, so the Moderna and their products, right, is 2356, space 10, space 123, space 69, space 59, space 00, space 29, space 8, space 1, space 3.
Okay.
Again, 2356, space 10, space 123, space 69, space 59, space 00, space 29, space 8, space 1, space 3. Okay, now we're going to shift to the Pfizer products. And the number for that is 6 space 9 space 281 space 692 space 5 space 8 space 9 space 69 space 02 space 1425. Again, that's 6 space 9 space 281 space 692 space 5 space 8 space 9 space 69 space 02 space 1425.
Perfect.
How cool is that?
It's very cool. I've got a comment here, or a question in the chat room that says, can you combine different heating modalities? Like this person apparently does Reiki. Said if I have a Reiki patient, and can I use the codes with that, or does the energy cancel each other out?
No, the energy does not cancel each other out. I came in as a Reiki master. I used the codes with Reiki. I used the codes with tuning forks. I used the codes with essential oils. I used the codes with my vitamins. I used the codes with my medicine. I used the codes with yoga. I used the codes with acupuncture, chiropractic. I've had several people go in for surgeries, and we have channeled in some personal codes for them specifically, and their loved one or them took a sheet in with them and took a black magic marker and wrote the codes on the drip saline bags, or they got the labels that you use for mailing labels and typed the codes or wrote the codes and then just taped the codes onto their body or onto their saline drip bags, their chemo bags, whatever, right?
Okay.
So, yes, you can use the codes with everything else. The codes do not have side effects themselves. They do not cause extra side effects with other modalities. They work in addition to everything else you do, which is very, very cool. It makes them very, very powerful.
You just answered his follow-up question. So, yay! I have another person asking about, is there a code for diabetes?
Yes, there is a code for diabetes. If you just hold on a second, I will look it up.
Okay.
Yeah, we have codes for every section. So let me just find my Incudine section here, and I will give you some codes for that. Generally speaking, I like to use both codes. I have a pre-diabetes one, and then I have one that is a diabetes one, and they work on different parts of your body. Okay, so where is that? Okay, so I'm going to give you the pre-diabetic. So this would be used for somebody who is just on the verge. You know, you went to the doctor, you say, oh, we got diabetes, and you say, I'm not doing this one, maybe I can do it with food, diet, and exercise and stuff. Or those who get diabetes when they're pregnant. Right? And then after they're pregnant, they usually, a couple months when the hormones balance, they shift back out of that. So for the pre-diabetic, the code is 15 space 31 space 916. And again, 15 space 31 space 916, and that's for the pre-diabetic. For the diabetic, and for balancing your insulin levels, that code is 44 space 34 space 131. And again, it's 44 space 34 space 131. And remember to leave the spaces in because those are the sharps and the flats, okay, of the equation, the whole thing, okay? And somebody will probably want to know about diabetic ulcers or infections in various parts of your hands or feet. I have a code for that, and that code is 44 space 34 space 135. 44 space 34 space 135. And again, follow those up with well-being. Go ahead.
I have another question. Someone is asking about a code for a cat with an abscess. And she says, is that too specific?
No, I just got to find my pet section now. No, it's not. Now, tell me again what it was.
She has a cat with an abscess.
So, abscesses, let me see. Abscesses are, we're going to go for this code here. It's for wound care and abscesses and things that are just not quite healing with animals. And that code is 29 space 58 space 734. And again, it's 29 space 58 space 734.
Perfect. Yeah, she says
and
thank you.
And for your animals, just write it across the top of their back, over the top of the abscess area with your finger. Again, it's energy. It knows where to go. My friends who have cats and dogs, I currently don't have any animals because I'm gone a lot because I work a lot. This is my life, right? I'm happy to serve you guys all. It's a joy. It's not a hardship. But their dogs and cats and their horses, they say, oh, we're going to write codes. It's time to write codes. And if they want a code, they'll come and sit by their feet, or the horses will stay in the stall rather than going out until they get their code. Okay? I have codes for bees. I have codes for cats and horses and all animals. So just remember to leave the spaces in. It's energy. It knows how to work. You could not take the whole code book when I get it done and write every code on your body because you'd be sick. But I tell people to just start with one code until you see if you can notice the changes, and then add another code, right? And see if you can notice the changes. And then once you get used to feeling your body shift, right? Sometimes it's just like, I don't know, something's different, but I don't know. Other times it's like the headache went away, the back pain went away. So I moved and I went house sitting, and we had a big storm. All in the same night, right? All same day, same night. And I was in a new house that I was house sitting for. Couldn't find a flashlight. Didn't know where the power box was. And I had a backache. And I'm like, okay, Reiki, I did all those things, right? And I'm thinking, it's not going away. I got a code, right? And so I just happened to remember what the code was, and I wrote it on my arm, and I drifted to sleep in that, that uneasy, don't move, you're going to feel better when you wake up kind of mode. And I woke up and I didn't have a backache. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And then about 2 hours later, it's like I had a horrible backache. And the back pain code didn't work. And then, guess what? I went to the bathroom. Guess what? Didn't have back pain. I had a UTI. And when I put in the UTI, and started on the water and the cranberry juice and the lemons and all those things, right? And the emotional work of kidneys, what was I mad at, right? That's the emotion. What are you mad at for kidneys, right? then it cleared up. So remember, when you're working on your issues, don't forget about the emotional component. Okay?
Right.
Louise Hayes has that wonderful book all figured out for you with all the affirmations to clear and then create. Right?
Right. Yep.
So don't forget to work on the emotional.
That's probably the most important thing. People get caught up in the physical, and your emotions, are responsible usually. We are almost out of time. How can people find you?
Type in my name, www.lindajollo.com. Again, Linda Jollo, JOLLO.com.
That is
very simple.
Like the perfect website address. That is amazing. Thank you so much for being here and for everything that you do. I know you are one busy lady, so I thank you for taking the time to do the show.
It was awesome. Remember, love fixes everything. Sitting in traffic, frustrated, start sending out that love, 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 right? And watch the traffic move. Be loved, be loved. And hopefully I'll come back and talk to you another day. It was always a pleasure and an honor. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And thank everyone for listening. Thank you guys in the chat room. You guys were awesome today. Everybody, the caller, you guys are always amazing. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Bye now.
Bye.
Your home can be more than just a home. It can be your own personal fitness retreat, a place where you break a sweat, break your personal record, or just get a break in the day. Johnson Fitness and Wellness is your partner in creating the perfect home gym. And now, enjoy up to 50% off top-rated treadmills, ellipticals starting at $5.99, and major discounts on strength equipment. Visit a local store or johnsonfitness.com. Your home gym is just a few steps away.